Good evening. I'm really glad to join you today, albeit virtually. Just like school, there's no substitute for being with you in person. Unfortunately, yesterday, COVID caught up with me and grounded me for a little while. And while I can't be there in person, I'm thankful to have a moment with you now. Like you, I've had to adapt. The beat goes on. Imagine if during your superintendency certification courses or your studies in your doctoral program, if you were given a hypothetical. Now, I know we don't like to live in the land of hypotheticals, especially when it's your board president asking you questions, but just indulge me for a few minutes. In this hypothetical, you had a chance to build your school system the way you wanted. You were able to redesign learning in a manner that you think is best for students. Now, wait a minute. I can hear some of you saying now, yeah, but that wouldn't work in my area. Look, resist that temptation. If you could build your system any way you wanted, let me ask you a few questions. Would your system have every high schooler in school 5 days a week for 6 hours sitting in rows? Would every school get the same level of supervision and professional learning opportunities, regardless of how far behind their students are? Would your neediest students be served by substitute teachers or the least experienced teachers? Would the best teachers be furthest away from students that are likely to struggle for the rest of their lives? Or, in your hypothetical, would your Board of Education or governance structure include people who know what regional workforce needs are and how to connect students with applied learning for high school credits? In your hypothetical, would there be automatic year-round schooling for students that are significantly behind, or extended school day for those same students with the support of community-based organizations? In your hypothetical, would those schools that struggle the most receive the tier 3 level support at a level of urgency that demonstrates that lives are in a balance? I'm sure they would. Well, the reality is this. While there will never be a time where you can wave a magic wand, this is the closest we are to a time where transformational change can happen. The pandemic shook it up for us. Don't build it back the way it was. That's not good enough. And as we celebrate you today, we celebrate the role of the superintendent. We know the buck stops with you. We know that we won't get increased parent engagement without you. Or student achievement will not improve without you. In fact, our country's standing in the world will depend on your actions in the next 2 years. And that's no hypothetical. So I'll end with good news and bad news. The bad news is first. The bad news is that the process of raising the bar in this country will not be as smooth as Dan Dominique. Nothing is as smooth as Dan Dominique. Dan, congratulations on your retirement, and thank you for your leadership and for your partnership. I wish you nothing but the best. The good news, you've demonstrated the last 2 years that you can go through challenges together and come out stronger. You've demonstrated that the heat from the last 2 years just sharpened your sword for the real fight ahead. The fight to truly transform our system of public education. Superintendents, you are the tip of the spear as we move forward, and you're sharper than ever. The good news is that as your Secretary of Education, there's no group that I would rather go to war with to build a system that better serves our children than you. So keep leading and keep shining. Thank you.